Good morning, folks. Next step along the way, show you my progress here. I've got both glued up. I ended up using the two different glues, and I built another little mold for the epoxy. And I just want to show you my progress report and give you an update on what I like and don't like. This one was done with the E6000 stuff. Several people had recommended this. I'm going to tell you, I don't like it as much. It's working, and I'm going to use it as is. I think everything will work just fine. What I will say, and it's not exactly easy to see this, is there was a few places, as you can see, that it dripped down in between the plates and ran, because the inside did not want to seem to dry out, or dry out I should say, because it's losing its vapors. So I thought one side was done, flipped it over to do the other side, and then the adhesive that was not dry on the inside started to seep down. Now, I've inspected it kind of closely, and there's some drips here, a little drip here in between different plates. It's not a solid amount that's covered. The only concern I have is that it would potentially reduce the interior surface area, but it doesn't seem to be that much enough to stop me from proceeding forward. The one thing I will say is this stuff cleans up pretty easy. I can rub it off the side. So if I'm not happy with the volume of hydrogen this one's producing, I will, can and will take it apart, and I can separate the plates and clean them up, and then redo it with the epoxy. The epoxy did better. Now, this stuff was not the quick setting stuff, so it had to sit there. I did one last night and one real early this morning, and it seemed to do better. This did not drip down the same. You can see that there's a very nice gap in between all the plates. So I'm much happier with the epoxy. It's harder. It looks like it's going to do very well. I do not think that this will not work. I think this one was going to work, should work just as fine. There's a minimum surface area that is not going to be exposed on the inside because of the running of the glue. We'll see. Maybe it won't be an issue. But I have now gone on to cover the first 3 inches with shrink tubing to keep any electrification from going on these upper plates. And now I will be connecting all these tabs with a stainless steel rod and nuts. And something I did not show you before were these extra plates. These will get connected up here. I just did a haphazard job of cutting them out, deburring them. There's some difference. I mean, they're not the cleanest, but I'm doing it all by hand, guys. And considering that, I also cut my threaded rods, and I've got all my hardware here ready to go. So I'll show you that when I get it complete. All right, let's see here. I've got the bolts through, along with the slightly variant tabs I cut. They are going to be going, let's see here, up inside. So I'll be bending these over here to fit up against here. So I'll have to adjust and make little bends, and then I've had enough left over of those 2 rods that I cut out 2 longer ones. I had the bolts, the little 1-inch bolts that I was going to use, but I decided I wanted a little adjustability, so we're going to use some threaded rods. I even went to the hardware store yesterday and picked up a couple more so that I could have enough for the other one. And then we'll use a wing nut there for screwing down on top of the cap here when I get the two electrodes to come through the top. And that's the next step from here, but we're looking good. Like I said, I'm happier with this adhesive than I am with this. I mean, this will work, and I guess the one good characteristic is because if I don't like it, if for some reason something wasn't working properly, it wouldn't be that difficult to take apart because I've been able to rub the glue right off the face of those. So I think it's going to be fine. I just wish I'd done both in that, but it is what it is. And like I said, this one will work. We got it together, and now it's time to put the two holes in the caps and get it hooked to the electrodes. On a side note, I've got a couple different things I want to try. There's different folks that are proclaiming different water mixtures, whether to use potassium hydroxide. There's some videos using sodium bicarbonate or baking soda. Actually have some sodium hydroxide. So you got potash, you got lye, you got baking soda, you got a bunch of different electrolytes or salts that you can put into the water. What I think we're going to do is once I get these assembled, we're going to do some tests and we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to try the different solutions and find a way to measure the volume difference to see which solution actually produces more hydrogen. So it'll be fun, but I can't do all of it until I get it in, and I've got orders in for the potassium hydroxide, and it won't be here for a few days, so I'm going to have to kind of sit on my haunches and be patient, which is not easy for me to do. But anyway, on to the next step. We'll see you in a bit.